Well, Mr. Price Group is principally a value-oriented, cash-only fashion retailer. They retail apparel, homeware and sportswear and have a market cap of 30 billion rand. The group opened 17 stores and closed 3 since the end of September 2011 and has a price-to-earnings ratio of 23, a dividend yield of 2.7%. Now, what do you know about Mr. Price and their merchandising solutions?
They, in fact, are the past masters at that, send somebody to Barcelona, buy a whole lot of samples, send them to Shanghai, say to them, can you make this thing for, 1/20th of what I just paid for it? Sure, they say, and then they send a busload down here. So, they really pioneered that kind of entry-level, cash, basic clothing goods for the lower middle classes, and they've done a brilliant job of it. You can't fault them. They've got the homewares thing, that's all very good and well, but I really think in the clothing environment they've got a powerful offering.
Are they managing to stay ahead of the game with that powerful offering?
I think they are. Again, we've got, you just need to look at their forecast earnings growth. You're looking about 23%, so still way above someone like Truworths. Like Paul mentioned, though, the one thing that, is maybe struggling a little bit is, when they're also obviously looking to push into Africa, and with them sort of heading to China, bringing in the stuff very, very cheap, they're having to use South Africa as almost like a springboard into Africa, and that's causing double duties on a lot of their stuff. So they first have to import to South Africa, then export up into Africa. They have got things in the works to sort that out, but
well, it doesn't sound too clever.
Well, at the moment, it's probably the best way, but they're now obviously building relationships with their Chinese counterparts to deliver straight into Africa. But it's still in sort of quite a new phase. They are looking at building a new DC in South Africa as well, because they are doing very, very well.
Isn't this something that they should have addressed previously? It sounds like something wrong with the model there.
No, I think they're scaling. As they get bigger, they can do certain things, and that's what we've seen. But it's easier to merchandise clothing than it is to merchandise food, where you've got delivery time frames and things going off and so on. But I think they are very, very well positioned. So understand, if you're earning 5,000 Rand a month, you cannot afford to go crazy and blow the budget. People are very price sensitive at that end of the market, and they know that there are great deals to be had at Mr. Price, and that the clothing ranges don't last forever, and that they come in quickly, and there's new stuff every time you go back. So you can't fault them. You've got to have them. This is a great company.
Can you get out of the way, because you're standing directly in front of the graph?
Look at that price chart.
Look at that price chart. That's exactly what I wanted the audience to see, and not have you standing in front of it. So if you had bought it under 30 Rand, we are now where, at 120 on Mr. Price?
117 all-time high.
117. When you're at an all-time high, isn't that a point to heed caution? Or is there no stopping these retail stocks?
I don't know, it's had a lot of all-time highs up that chart.
Exactly, it was an all-time high there as well. And there.
All right, yes, absolutely. That was a bit of a blunt question, wasn't it? So we're going to go through this all-time high as well, are we, Gary?
I think we will. Again, with the sort of momentum that we see in these stocks, it's incredibly difficult to buy them, because, like you said, you're always looking at all-time high. You look for a little bit of a pullback, but you look at probably a 2-3% pullback, and that's where you. But
that's not happening. You guys have just pointed it out to me. There's no pullback on this graph.
Look, they've got a very well-settled management team. They've had this transition from the one steward to the other steward, and then to Laurie, and then back to another steward. These are guys that have been there a long time, and they rotate them up into the board and so on. So I don't think they're going to put a foot wrong. But, there are always risks. You could go off the boil a little bit or commit to a major expansion. I'd like to see them doing more in the clothing environment and less in the home space, because I think that home thing, the cheap plates and the colourful sheets, I don't know how far you can go with that.
Hot or not on Mr. Price?
Not, actually, not. Warmish, but not.
And I happen to love my colourful sheets, so hot or not on Mr. Price?
It's quite tough at that all-time record spiky price, but I'm going to go with hot. I think it still can go further.